Welcome. This is an Atlas presentation designed to help people understand how to read a food label and understand some of the tips and tricks behind them. In this presentation, we'll be discussing servings, nutrients, daily value, carbs, fats, proteins, as well as cholesterol, sodium, and a general ingredients list. Servings and serving size is typically the first thing you'll find on the top of a food label. This can be very deceptive in the sense that typically people are looking at calories as the first thing to eyeball when buying something. So for instance, this slide shows that the calories per this container is only 130, which doesn't seem like that much. But if you look at the serving size, there are 14 servings per container, and each serving size is only half a cup. So really there's 7 cups in this entire package, and if you ate the whole package, that would add up to 14 times 130 calories, or 1,820 calories. So a lot more than just what the box says as the calorie count. After looking at servings and how they relate to the calories in a package, the next most common thing to look at is the nutrition. So the fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrates, and protein. And you oftentimes will compare this to what you should get in your everyday diet. So typical diet recommendations are about 45 to 65% of your calories should come from carbohydrates, 20 to 35% coming from fat, and about 10 to 35% of calories coming from protein. And you can use that to kind of gauge how much you need for any individual package or food. After understanding the nutrition in a package, you can use the percent daily value in the far right column to understand about how much you're getting from this food that you're eating. So the Federal Drug Association has guidelines that list about 5% or less is low amount of whatever category nutrition you're looking at, whereas over 20% is typically high for any one package or food. Daily value is a little different than percent daily value, as it is used to gauge how much of a nutritional component you're getting based off of a 2,000 calorie diet. So there's an upper limit, or you want to get less than the recommended amount. So for instance, saturated fat, you don't want to get more than about 20 grams per day. So on this package, there's only 0.5 grams, so you'd be getting less than the recommended daily intake. Whereas you also want to get at least a certain amount of other things, such as calcium, where it doesn't have the exact listed amount on this package, but you want to get at least 1,300 milligrams of calcium a day. Carbohydrates, one of the main sources of energy for the body, is broken up into a couple different categories. One being dietary fiber, which is important for digestion and satiety, can give you an idea of how your body controls the energy. So high fiber diets are typically going to benefit you by keeping your blood glucose levels from spiking, whereas total sugar will more drastically impact your blood glucose levels. Specifically, added sugar has been shown that it can be negative for health, and so recommendations are to keep total added sugar less than 10% of your total calories per day. Protein is another major energy source for the body, the building blocks being amino acids, which can help build and repair cells of the body. Recommended daily value is 50 grams at least of protein, which can help you with your growth and development. Fats are the third energy source for the body, and typically they get a bad rap as people don't want to be fat, but fats are really important for energy as they contain 2 times the amount of energy compared to carbohydrates and proteins. Now, why they get such a bad rap is because saturated fats can be very unhealthy for you, and you typically don't want to get more than 10% of your daily calories from them. And then trans fat can actually be healthy and have very beneficial effects on the body, such as for nerve development and growth. One of of the big misnomers with food labeling is we get very focused in on fat-free versus saturated fat, low saturated fat, reduced fat, low fat. There's so many different adjectives to describe what's in the actual product. So a few things listed here. Fat-free just means less than 0.5 grams come from fat, whereas less than 0.5 grams of saturated fat or saturated fat-free doesn't mean it's completely absent. Low saturated fat means just less than 1 gram. Reduced fat means that less than 25% of all of the calories come from fat, and low fat is less than 3 grams of total fat in the product. Cholesterol is another thing that gets a bad rap, similar to fat. There's both healthy and bad cholesterol, but typical recommendations are you don't want cholesterol to be too high with any given food. And also you want to pay attention to trans fat in the food because this can negatively affect the blood cholesterol of your body. Sodium is another nutrient that you'll find on labels that is important to track because it has both positive and negative effects on the body. One being that it can negatively affect your blood pressure if you get too much sodium in your diet. The last thing to pay attention to on food labels is the ingredients list. This is important because it tells you what's actually in a product. Common words that are often misunderstood are words like natural or organic, fruit flavored. Those are things that you might find in the ingredients list. And a few definitions here on the slide give you an idea of what they actually mean and are often misinterpreted. So this was just a quick presentation and summary of how to read a food label. There's obviously more that goes into them, and understanding them fully can sometimes be hard. So feel free to reach out to an Atlas provider and we can give you more information or guide you in a direction so you can understand what you're putting into your body a little bit better. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this presentation.